Hi, this is Matt with AppliancePartsPros.com. Today we'll be showing you how to repair your appliance. Remember, anytime you work on an appliance, make sure it's unplugged or the circuit breakers are off so there's no chance of electrocution. In this video, we're going to show you how to change out the Whirlpool Dryer Idler Pulley. It's going to be a very easy repair and should only take a few minutes to show you how to do it. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can click on the link below or get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. When you open up the package, you're going to get the new idler pulley. The idler pulley goes between the drum and the motor pulley, and it puts tension on the belt. The main reason you'd be changing it out is if the pulley bearing has gone bad and you're getting squeaking noise from that area. In order to get to the part, we have to open up the dryer. First thing we're going to do is open up the lint screen cover and remove these screws with our Phillips screwdriver. Now that we have the screws off, we can release the clips to lift the top off. First thing we want to do is open up the door and get it out of the way. Then we can take a putty knife and stick it into the frame right here to release the clip and lift up on a little bit so it releases the clip. And then we can go do the one on the other side. Now that we have the clips released, we can lift the top up and push it back out of the way. Now we can close the dryer door and disconnect the wire harness for the door switch. We're going to take a small flathead screwdriver and pop it off. Now we can use our 5/16 nut driver to remove these two screws. There's one on each side that hold the front panel on. Now that you have the screws out, you can pull the top panel off a little bit and then lift it off the retainer clips. Once you have it off, you can set it aside. Alright, now that we have the front panel off and we're down by the idler pulley, we can lift up on it to put some slack in the belt so we can get it off the pulley. Once you have it off, we can take our 3/8 socket and take out this bolt that holds it to the motor mounting plate. Once you have the bolt out, we can unhook the spring and pull the idler out. Here's the old idler pulley next to the new one. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. We do have to take the spring off the old one and put it over onto the new one so we can put it in the dryer. Okay, to put the idler pulley in, we're going to first hook up the spring to the bracket. It's easier to do the spring first and then pull on the whole bracket to stretch the spring than it is to put the spring on last. So when you put the other end of the bracket in, you want to make sure it's underneath the belt safety switch and that you can see the hole to put the screw in. Once you have that lined up, we can use our 3/8" socket and put the bolt in. When you tighten this down, you may have to pull on this a little bit to get it to slide over because this is a shoulder bolt and you have to make sure this thing still moves up and down when you tighten down the bolt. Alright, now that we have the idler pulley in there and it moves properly and it hits the switch and everything, we can put the belt back on. You want to put the belt over the top of the idler pulley this way, and then we have to go around and make a loop over the motor pulley. Alright, now that we have the idler installed, we can put the dryer back together. We can put the front panel back on. All we have to do is line it up and set it onto the retainer clips. Now we can use our 5/16 nut driver to put in the screws that hold the front panel on. Now that we have the screws in, we can also reconnect the door switch wiring harness. Make sure it locks into place. Now we can lift the top back in place so we can lock it down. Remember, as you lower it down, you may have to open the door to get it out of the way. And you want to make sure it comes down onto the locking springs. Now that we have the top down, we can close the door. Now we can put the screws back in that hold the lint screen duct to the top. We can use our Phillips screwdriver to put them in. With the screws in, we can close the lint screen door. Now that you're done repairing the appliance, you can plug it back in and give it a spin. Thanks for joining us for another successful repair brought to you by AppliancePartsPros.com. Check out our other repair videos on our site, Facebook, and YouTube.